It's me, Dax, also known as Nicole DeBoer. You are listening to Random Trek.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Random Trek. I am your fearless captain, Christopher Ingle, joined as always by my first officer, a man who was drummed out of the Q Continuum, Commander Brennan, the Mystical Mar. Brennan, how you doing?
Very well, Captain. Eat any good books lately?
Yes, today we are taking a look at Season 3, Episode 13, Deja Q. I love the Q-like puns of
The Next
all
Generation.
yes, well, yes. Actually, I kind of wish they were all like this. A lot of Q episodes. I love it.
Hmm.
But yes, Next Generation, Deja Q. I don't know about you, Brennan. The Q episodes growing up for me were always some of my favorites. How about you?
Definitely, they stood out. Sure.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of it is in part to to its special guest star, John Delancey.
He
I
brings a lot of energy to this.
and it's always been sad to me that John Delancey never got to do a Star Trek movie because I just feel so strongly that this character and this actor deserved to be a part of the crew all the way through. And this is definitely a classic Q episode, wouldn't you say?
Definitely up there, yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So this one, the Enterprise is at the planet of Braille 4. The moon for the planet is descending from its orbit. They don't know why or how it's happening, but it is happening. And it's going to crash on the highly populated world below. They could start evacuations, but there's going to be death if this thing is allowed to crash. Um, the Enterprise crew is scrambling to find this solution when suddenly, out of nowhere, Q appears on the bridge, very naked.
Yes.
That's a cold open for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. The next thing we see, he's on the bridge with them, and he has clothes. Thank goodness. He has been sent to the Enterprise and is seeking asylum because he has been stripped of his powers and rendered mortal as a human by the Continuum for punishment for his antics in the last three or so episodes. I believe we had three episodes prior to this.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Um, Picard and the crew are very skeptical of Q's story. Um, but he says, "I'll give you shelter." Absolutely, Mr. Worf, put him in the brig with pleasure, Captain. Um, So the crew is trying to figure things out, and with Q's appearance, they figured that the moon falling is Q's fault. This is some trick by Q. So Picard urges Q, use your powers, return to orbit. Q's like, well, I can't, but I can offer you my intelligence. I do have lots of knowledge, and that might be able to help you. All right. So Picard assigns Commander Data to Q during Q's stay there to watch him. And while in engineering, Q just off the cuff, when they're trying to figure out how to push the moon away, Q says, "Why don't you just change the gravitational constant of the universe? Duh." And they look at him like, "You're an idiot." And then all of a sudden they go, "Wait a second, that's actually not a bad idea." That's what LaForge figures is that they could wrap a low-level warp field around the asteroid, essentially warping it and making it lighter, therefore being able to push it with their tractor beams. Um, Meanwhile, Hugh is really struggling to adapt to his humanity. He is learning things like back spasms and sleep and hunger, things he's never really experienced before, and they're very humorous. But at one time while he is sleeping, there's this flash of light that comes across Q. Interesting. Um, we'll get back to that flash of light. That flashlight is important. So Data and Q are conversating, and Data says, it's kind of funny, Q. You hate what you hate. I aspire to be human. And he wants to learn more. Shortly after this, though, Q gets attacked by the Calamarain after a great encounter with Guinan.
Oh
Guinan comes
yes.
across him,
Oh yes.
stabs him with a fork. It's great.
Yeah, oh yes.
Um, so Picard figures that Q asked for refuge on the Enterprise to protect himself from these creatures, the Calamarain. Okay. Um, So when the shields get lowered to test LaForge's theory, the Calamarain attack. And Data is nearly electrocuted because he defends Q. Um, and realizing that Q's presence is causing more harm than good, he steals a shuttlecraft and leaves, trying to draw the Calamarain away. As the Calamarain are quickly approaching the shuttle, uh, another Q appears in the shuttle and
Hmm.
tells him that, hey, this is a selfless act the Continuum was noticing. We're going to give you back your powers. Of course, Q accepts. He subdues the Calamarain, but releases them. We don't want to harm them. Uh, and he's always reminded to reflect on the lessons that he's learned. He ends up returning to the Enterprise, thanking everybody. The famous meme of him in mariachi gear. This is where this comes from. Worf gets girls, Riker gets cigars. It's great. All of this annoys Picard, but there's one gift that he leaves behind for Data. And Data says, no, I don't want to do what you think. And he says, no, 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 Data. I would never curse you to be human. I want to leave you with a little something.
And going away present.
A going away present. And Q disappears, and Data just starts a belly laugh. A non-stop belly laugh that actually confuses and yet entertains everyone else for a moment. And then Data stops, and Data says how much he enjoyed that sensation. It was fascinating. Um, so they learn that the moon has been safely returned to orbit, and Picard still believes that Q was responsible, but that it would, because it was moved, it must be because there's some humanity in Q after all. And then Q appears one last time, and his voice says, "Don't bet on it."
Yep. And we should mention the other Q is played by Corbin Burnson.
I was gonna get to that. Yeah, Corbin
Burnson.
Burnson, sorry. Whom I know both old stuff and new stuff. L.A. Law, I love L.A. Law. Famously in the movies, though, I remember him from the Major League movies.
Yes.
Where yeah, he's Dorn in the
So the
Major League
dad on
movies.
Psych,
Yeah, I was good. That was the next one I was going to mention is he was also in Psych.
he's really
Um,
good in Psych.
and he's uncredited in this. This was a very quick cameo.
Yep. And he
This
had
was,
hair.
and yes, he did have hair.
Yeah, I thought
But
that was a fun little cameo.
I really love seeing Q trying to learn all about humanity in this short little time. And the humiliation that he has, humiliation and the humiliating that he gets from this.
Indeed, yes.
And this has lasting repercussions because the next time that we see Q, he feels he owes a debt to Picard, and
Mhm.
that's another episode, but it plays into that. And I think in the future, there is a higher respect between Q and Picard that Q always feels he owes him one in kind of a weird way. I'm thinking, of course, of the time that Picard's heart burned out and he thought he went to heaven. But again, I really think this is Q kind of repaying in his own way. But let's focus on this episode. This episode. What did you enjoy about this episode?
I think it's not one of the great episodes,
Mhm.
but it is a lot of fun. By the way, somebody on YouTube a couple years ago did the cold open of this episode as a bad 90s sitcom with the laugh track, and it was hilarious. There's a lot of good quotes in this one.
Hmm.
Eat any good books lately is a great quote.
Yes,
The antagonism between Q and Worth is hilarious.
it is.
And the Data laughing has become a major meme, a major internet meme, which is really cool.
Yeah. I think for me overall, I the encounter with Guinan
Yes.
was
Oh,
by far
yes.
my favorite. Just
Oh,
the
yes.
joy and venom, and we've talked about Guinan before, but even with what we know now after season 2 of Picard, we still know so very little about the Elorians.
Yes, they are very mysterious.
Yeah, I just I love it so much. This
And they never explain
ability.
why they have a problem with the Q.
Yeah, it's one of those things I definitely would love to learn more about.
Whole Gundam has a beef with Q.
We talked about last week, Star Trek Con. That story would make an interesting audio drama, the history of the Elorians and the Q.
Interesting.
And let's have Whoopi Goldberg in there at some point. I think you could. Let's see why not.
Yep,
Or maybe she's narrating the history of the Elorians.
it'd be interesting, yeah.
I'd like that. I love it. I'm immortal again, omnipotent again. Swell.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
My
just a
good
lot of fun.
fortune is your good fortune.
Yes, I still like the mariachi band. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, but the Data laugh is a classic.
It really is. But we don't get a lot of Q, and I'm going to call this a Q centric episode. We get Q as an antagonist, but this is kind of the first time that Q is the center of this. That Q is the story. It's not the rest of the crew, and then Data is our eyes through that.
That's
And
true, yeah.
for Data, I love that he refers to Data now and in the future as his professor of the humanities.
It's true.
It's something that will come back again too. I like this. It is not a particularly like this is not in anybody's top 10, and
No,
yet it's so much fun.
it is. The Q episodes tend to be really fun.
And John Delancey eating up the scene work every time. The Picard facepalm meme. This is where this comes from.
Yes.
Like
Oh,
this
yes.
episode has birthed so much pop culture.
Yes.
It was definitely worth it. Anything otherwise you didn't like about it? 10 chocolate sundaes. Sorry.
No. I mean, other than it's just maybe not one of the best episodes.
No.
It's not really required viewing.
I think it's one of those like if you want to know more about the Q,
Yeah.
watch the Q.
Yeah, I would I
You'll
would
watch
I would
it.
agree.
Um, but yeah, it's fun, it's entertaining, really great for John Delancey. I'm glad I got to watch it. It's just good old harmless fun.
Yep.
Alrighty then. All right, so next week. Next week is movie night on the ship. And we will be taking a trip back to 1995 to take a look at the franchise starting, and I would say revolution creating Toy Story.
Yes.
And we are going to be joined by a very special guest, Brennan's brother-in-law, who actually works as an artist with Pixar.
Yes.
And so we're going to get to talk to him not only on his thoughts on Toy Story, but maybe a little no spoilers sneak peek at his work and how he feels about the franchise, as I believe he's working on the new Toy Story, which
Indeed
the
he is.
trailer just dropped this week.
Indeed, he is.
It's going to be great. And it sounds like he will also join us next month for another Pixar film.
Arguably the best Pixar thing. Arguably.
Well, arguably, maybe. I love it, though. Although it's funny, my students today in class, because it's Thanksgiving, we had our Thanksgiving day, and it's a minimum day. So they had free time. What did they want to watch? Wall-E.
Yes.
That's what they asked. They wanted Wall-E. I was like, okay, I got to review it in a month. Sure, why not?
Yeah, it is a classic. It really is.
It really is. I love it. It's definitely top 3. No questions asked. I would not argue
Indeed.
that. But yes, so we've got that coming. And then the week after, we are going aboard DS9.
Oh boy.
Don't we love DS9? All right. Wheel of Morality, turn. Tell us the season that we should burn. Season 5. Oh, yes. It is my personal, absolute favorite DS9 episode, bar none, For the Uniform. This is the one with Eddington and Javert.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I absolutely love this episode. And it just, we're going to have a lot to talk about this one. Because this is where this is the first time we truly see the dark side of one Captain Benjamin Sisko.
Yeah, which is probably why he's one of the great characters.
Oh, yes. I cannot wait to review that one.
In all of Star Trek.
Absolutely. Brennan, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at brennmar.bluesky.social. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Page Turners They Were Not.
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at CIngle1984. And as always, we end every episode. Kapra! And live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.